Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Man, I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be really neat. You know, one of the hardest things for me as a pro angler, leaving next week, going to a lake, where do I start? And it may be one of those things that you guys may struggle with. Where do you start when you first go to the lake, you know, for the first day of that month? So I'm going to try to help you with that. And just like starting your boat, you know, Optima, they've been great. They're going to give this battery away to one of you guys. Stick around to the end to find out how. But it's going to be a neat series. Where do you start when you go to the body of water? So how this is going to work, guys, I'm going to pick just 3 random lakes. I'm going to try to pick 3 different lakes, but maybe a couple lakes that I'm familiar with, that I've been to, that I know when I say, hey, this would be a great pocket to start in to get a pattern established. And then I want to pick a lake I have never heard of, never been to, don't know a thing about. And I want to really listen to you guys, when you comment back through these videos, for the next month when we go to do April. I'm going to look at some of those lakes that's got the most comments and go do a video on one of those lakes too. So for the month of March, I'm going to make it easy on myself. If I was to go to Grand, the month of March, where would be a great place for me to start? And right here, I'm just going to zoom out. This is, and I know a lot about Grand. This is Drowning Creek, one of the best creeks on the lake, one of the most consistent watercolor creeks on the lake. Those are 2 things that you want to take into account depending on your water temperature for the month of March. So, I chose Grand Lake, and it's going to fish a lot like any of those lakes across that band of the United States. It fishes a lot like Table Rock, a lot like Lake of the Ozarks, a lot like maybe Cumberland. I've never been to Cumberland, but I would think there's going to be some similarities there, minus the smallmouth. Just all the way across the country, maybe a little bit like at Smith Mountain Lake over in Virginia. There's some things there that it's going to relate to for you. So when I zoom in on Drowning Creek, the reason I picked this creek to start is it's very clean. It's a big major creek, so on your lake, a major creek, and then a major creek in the middle of that creek. Like here's the back right here, here's the front. If I was to pick that, it says Summerfield Hollow, didn't know that was the name. This is the new Lowrance Sea map. But if I was to pick this creek right here, why I picked this creek is, one, it's got plenty deep enough water for fish to winter, 50 foot there at the mouth. I've got a great bluff swing, channel swing right there. You heard us talk a lot about channel swings. What that is when the creek comes up on this side and then it swings away. So I go from big bluff rock to chunk rock to pea gravel, all right there in a 100-yard stretch. And it's just a great place for fish to stage. So you're going to the lake, you're trying to figure out where they're at. What part of the spawn are they in? Are they still pre-spawn? Are they in spawn? Are they post-spawn? Well, the size of this creek, I can fish it in a couple hours and I can determine those things. So if I had a cup event and I'd never seen this lake before, this would be a great creek for me to start in, because I've got 1, 2, basically 3 channel swings in that creek, 1 on this side, 1 on that side, and 1 in the back. So I can figure out how far back they are in those creeks. Fish that channel swing, pop over to the other side, fish that channel swing, pop to the back, fish that channel swing. So that is a creek that I can do all those things in. You can go to my March baits videos and kind of see some bait videos or February bait videos. They're all going to kind of go along for that time of year. But that is an example of where I would start. It's down the lake, cleaner water, a major creek, and then a fairly major secondary, or is there a word like thirdary? I'd say it's a secondary creek in Drowning Creek. That would be a great place to start. And then I would start at the mouth on that channel swing. I'd fish that 100 yards. I'd probably jump over, fish this 100 yards over here. And then if they're not there, that tells me that they're going to be back here already moving on to that pea gravel. So then I'm going to start picking up those crankbaits, or maybe they're even further along at the end of March and I'm gonna pick up like a Carolina rig or a football jig or something like that, and they're spawning, or maybe they're all the way in the back on those logs. You know, maybe there's a color change. If I was to take it a step further and just look at Google Earth, let's zoom out. We'll zoom in on Grand Lake of the Cherokees, one of the best all time. Zoom in on that pocket. That's the wrong pocket. Yeah, that's the right pocket. So then you can also see, by taking it a step further, I've also got boat docks I can fish. You know, when I look at this creek, it's going to get a lot of sun on this northern bank. This whole northern bank's gonna be in the sun all day long. This would be east over here, this would be west. So, you know, this is gonna warm up really well all down this side. You know, this point right here is gonna be a great point for maybe fish to stage up on before they go further back. But I would envision those fish spawning all on this north bank in behind those boat docks. So it's not a very far distance for those fish to travel from this outside channel swing bluff where they could have wintered right out here to bam, popping back over here on this northern bank and to start their spawning process. So to me, this pocket has it all from the start of March to the end of March, that I can find those fish in a very short amount of time and then take it to another section of the lake. All right, so let's choose another lake. Let's go to, I had a lake thought up in my head. What was it? Give me a second. Oh, I wanted to choose Pickwick. One, I've had experience in Pickwick in March. Two, it's kind of a river system, has a lot of current going through it. And it's got smallmouth. So you know, I'm trying to help you guys all across the country, and I want to, you know, include some smallmouth in it. So we go to Pickwick, and let me get there, give me a second. This is looking like Pickwick. It's gotta be Pickwick. Yeah, there's Florence. So when you get to a place like Pickwick and a river system that has a lot of current, you've got to take it a step further. I do not want to be in the month of March in that main current, especially second, third, fourth weeks in March, or even into April. I want to get out of that current. They're not generally going to spawn in that heavy current. Now, as you move down the lake and there's less current, absolutely, they'll spawn out on that main lake in that current. But up in the river section, like if you left Florence and you went to the left and went up below Wilson Dam, they're not going to spawn in that section right there. But that pocket right there, holy smokes, every bass that's in that river section is going to spawn in that pocket because it's out of the current. It's just a natural place for those fish to go. So when you go to a river section, I want you to think about getting out of the current, getting back into a backwater. Just to show you another spot, because that one is so small. I've got history in there. I've had a really good event, but man, if you come to Coffee Slough, this thing right here with all the cypress trees, with all that stuff in there, it would be a phenomenal place to start your search in the month of March. Throwing a jig, throwing a vibrating jig, throwing a spinnerbait in that Coffee Slough. This thing right here, if I was to show you on Google what those two places look like, let me find it here. There's the great state of Tennessee, Alabama, Florence. We're zooming in. I'll just show you the first one real quick. Now, wow, in that photo of Google Earth, I'm on my iPad, so I can't go back in time. You guys can go back to that Google Earth video I did. It's really cool to show you how to go back in time. This little slough right here would not be good at all. There's just tons of current going in it. So not good at all. You know, yeah, so that you would take that out of that equation. But here's Coffee Slough, and you can see the color change. You got all this current coming down through here, and then you got Coffee Slough, and you've got these isolated cypress trees out off these points. You know, and I would look for deeper water up next to those cypress trees, protected water, cleaner water. You know, that's always a thing I look for in March, is cleaner water. But there's two other spots that I would start on a river type lake. This one being on the Tennessee River, this one being Pickwick Lake. Man, that's another good one too, right inside that island. I'd back up in there, all that right there would be really a good place to go look to catch some fish if you hadn't been out on the water. All right, the third lake. You guys, I don't know anything about it. I just went up to, I saw it on my map here, and it looked like the biggest lake in Indiana when I started zooming in. I don't know, I was like, oh heck, that looks like a good one. When I go to zoom in right there, I see a body of water down there south of Indianapolis. And the name of this lake is, let me find it on here, Patoka Lake, P-A-T-O-K-A. And so, hey guys, I've never been there. Don't know a thing about it. Heck, I don't even know what kind of bass are in it. It's gotta have bass in it. All lakes have bass in it. So I'm gonna be interested to see what you guys comment, what you say when I go to show you. So I spent a little time looking at this Google map, and there's two places that just stuck out to me when I looked at this lake. And when I say I didn't spend a lot of time, I spent 5 minutes looking at it. I zoom into the back of, I don't see names on here. Let me see if I can zoom in right here. See what it looks like on this map. Oh. It looks like it's maybe called Allen Creek. Man, in the back of this thing, there is strip pits. So I'm gonna have deep water, I'm gonna have cleaner water, I'm gonna have a hard bottom. All those things that could be consistent for a bass. He could have wintered there, he can spawn there, he can summer there, and it should always be cleaner. Right here in the back of this creek right here, just this whole stretch of, and this one over here too, it looks like an old rock quarry to me. Man, if I had a cup event there, buddy, that would be the #1 spot that I would probably go to in the month of March to go find some bass. You know, you guys up there in March, it's still gonna be cold. You're gonna have ice possibly still on that water, 1st of March. So, you know, most rock quarries, in my experience, those things can be 15, 20, 30 feet deep. So you're gonna have depth in there where those fish could have wintered. As soon as it gets ice off, I would be in there, and I'd go back and probably look at that January baits video. And the one thing I've noticed about fish up north, everything happens much quicker. You know, down south, bass spawn. Heck, in Florida and South Texas, they spawn starting in October all the way to March. You know, here in Oklahoma, you know, we'll have fish actually start to spawn or try to spawn, you know, on some years, the end of February, March, April, it really happens. Still have some fish spawning in May. And I've seen them spawn in the 1st of June, lots. So, but up north, it seems like every bass spawns the same time. It happens in a 2-week window, and your seasons just all happen much quicker. So think about that when you're fishing up north, that everything's accelerated. You can take my January baits, my February baits, my March baits, and it's gonna be by the week. You know, 1st week of March, 2nd week of March, 3rd week of March, your fish are spawning. And you know, if you guys went back and watched that Eufaula video, that's just another factual way to see how fast things happen. You know, that water started at 49 degrees the first of the week. It was 69 degrees by the final day, 4 days later, and fish were spawning. They went from plumb wintertime to dadgum spawning in a really, really quick amount of time. So that's the one spot I would pick on this Patoka Lake. When I look at this lake, it's a cool lake, lots of shoreline, but I mean, just to me, this pocket right here really stands out to me. And there's a couple reasons why this pocket stands out. It's over in Lick Creek. It's got depth to it, but then it's shallow in the back. It's got channel swings, just like in my grand spot. You know, I've got 2-3 channel swings there that I can check out. I've got a good shallow water. But the other thing that I really like, I've got the main creek swinging up on the outside of it, but I've got a 2-3 mile stretch here of southern wind that could blow into that. A southern wind is warm wind, blows the algae, the planktons, then blows the shad, but then the bass follow. So I just like that pocket. It's small. I can start at the mouth. I can fish my way around it. and I can get a bite. I feel like that's just a good spot to go get a bite. So yeah, guys, that's it. I mean, there's 100 other areas. I can't wait to see what you guys say and how far off base I am. You know, there's some really cool bridges, you know, that would be cool places to see or to throw a jerkbait on in this Patoka Lake. Never been there. Heck, you guys may tell me it's a trout fishery. I don't know, but I'm sure it can't be. It's got to be good. It looks good. But there it is, guys. That's a series I want to start. Just that I do, it's like second nature for me. When I go to a body of water, I've got to pick a spot to start. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I still got to pick a spot to start, and I'm going to tell you why I start there. And maybe it'll help you guys a little bit when you go out there this weekend and try to catch a bass. You know, take your son out there, your daughter, your wife, whoever it is. So I hope it helps. You guys leave me a comment. Subscribe, like, do all that stuff. The great folks at Optima Batteries, I'm gonna go on there randomly. Each month, Optima is gonna give away one of these size 31, or if you need a cranking battery, a 34, the next size smaller. You know, this is a video about where to start your search for bass. You gotta have an Optima battery in there to start your engine. It all starts with that engine running back there to get out there across the lake. Be sure you leave a comment, and I'll go down through there, randomly pick one, and Optima Batteries are gonna mail you a certificate to get one in the mail. So really, really a cool deal. My hat's off to Optima. Thank you guys a lot for doing that. And thank you guys for watching, following along, and look forward to reading those comments from you. Good fishing.